Okay. A very good morning to all the students. I welcome you all to Jahangir tutorials. In this video, we will be understanding the three criminal laws and what are the key changes and the key important aspects of all the three laws, including their history. Okay, so before I start, you go ahead, like the video, and also for such updates and lectures, go ahead, join our WhatsApp group. The link is given in the description of the video. Okay. Now, so let's begin with the three criminal laws. Okay, let's start. Hi, so we'll be beginning with the three criminal laws which have been introduced by the Parliament. Now let's see which are those, and it is a major change in the criminal laws in India, since the three laws were the main pillars in the criminal system. Now, first we go to see which are the laws which have been replaced. So, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita replaces the Indian Penal Code. So, the Indian Penal Code was called as the Law of Crimes. So, this was called as Law of Crimes, where they had mentioned all the offences and their punishments was given in the Indian Penal Code. This has been replaced with the Bharatiya Nyaya means justice Sanhita, that is the code. Second, the procedural aspect, the code of criminal procedure. For example, how would you get the bail, in how much time the police would take you in custody, present you before the magistrate. Okay, how do you go in appeal? The procedure of the criminal laws was covered under the code of criminal procedure, which has now been replaced by the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita. So Suraksha is protection. So when Nagarik is the Citizens Protection Act, that is the code of criminal procedure. And the third criminal law, that is the Indian Evidence Act, has been replaced by the Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam 2023. Now when I say Sakshya means witness, to witness or to evidence. So this is the Nagarik Suraksha and the Nyaya Sanhita. So the three criminal laws are there. Now all these criminal laws, when you notice, they were all passed at the time of the British era. Okay, in the British era, which was there. So these were three colonial laws, which were mainly based through the Britishers, and how the Britishers had made it was completely on them. And now we will see each of the three laws, what changes they have brought and what is the key highlight of these three laws. The first law that we start is the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which is nothing but your law of crime, which replaces the Indian Penal Code. Now, first, it replaces the Indian Penal Code. Okay. Now, when we go into the history of the Indian Penal Code, how did it come into play, who brought it into play, etc. So, in 1960, Lord Thomas Babington Macaulay. So, if you have done your law, you would come to know that Macaulay was a very important jurist, British jurist. He, on basis of his entire committee, the Indian Penal Code was brought in. Okay. Now, when the Indian Penal Code was brought in, it was mostly favoring the Britishers. Okay. Like when I say the British government. So things like sedition, whenever you spoke against the government, you could be put behind bars. So it tried to suppress the voices. Now let's see the comparison between the old act and the new act. In the old act, there were 511 sections. So in the Indian Penal Code, there was 511 sections, and now it has been shrinked, concise to 358 sections. So the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita has 358 sections. Now we will see that what all has been added, what all has been removed, and what are the key highlights of the new law of crime called as the BNS. Now, in the BNS, when we go to see, a new form of punishment has been introduced. A new form of punishment. Earlier, in the law of crimes, we had punishments such as death, fine, hang till death, etc. But for petty thefts, for maybe causing nuisance after drinking, okay, all those things which were there, with the small little offenses were there, uh, you know, being defamation in a small way. So all these things which were petty, small, law didn't really have a proper punishment. However, the courts used to give something called as a community service. Okay, so community service has been introduced as a punishment. Now, when we see what is a community service, it can be, you can be asked to clean the environment, clean the waters, clean the ground, etc. Or you could be asked to plant a seed, to plant a tree. This could be asked as a community service, or it could be asked to work with any NGO, to work with an NGO. Okay, so small crimes which are there, they have been told that you can do a community service and go, and this will only be for first time offenders. So first time, if you have done something small petty wrong, the court can give you a punishment such as a community service. Now, snatching was never a crime, a specific crime under the Indian Penal Code. So snatching was never there. However, it used to be covered under different sections. Now they said that snatching is specifically introduced with a punishment up to 3 years. And what do you mean by snatching? It means seizing a movable property from someone. So maybe snatching a chain, etc. has been introduced. So this is the first community service. Snatching has been introduced in the law of crimes. Next, when we see the sedition, very, very, very important is the sedition. Now, let's understand what do you mean by the term sedition. So, sedition basically means, it was specifically for the Britishers' point of view. What used to happen is, whenever you used to speak against the government, they had put a section called as sedition under section 124A, okay, of the IPC, and they used to put you in jail. They used to arrest you just for speaking your mind, for expressing your thoughts. So then it was highly criticized. They said that, listen, sedition should actually be repealed, and this is what has happened. The sedition, that is speaking against the government, has been repealed. However, the catch is they have introduced another section, a new section which is 150, which is stating that you can be punished for attacking the India's sovereignty, unity, integrity, inciting rebellion or secession, which simply could also mean that if I am speaking against the government, it could be framed that you are speaking against the India, and you can be still charged under section 150, which is similar to sedition. So earlier the objective was to let that anyone can criticize the government, positive criticisms are allowed. However, we have repealed one, but we've introduced it in another form. So it is bringing a old wine in a different bottle. Okay, so critics argue that the sedition laws have now been abolished but put in a different name. The next that we go to see, that the law of crimes has decriminalized attempt to suicide. So when you go to see, an attempt to suicide has been decriminalized. Now when I say attempt to suicide was punishable earlier, now it is in line with the Medical Healthcare Act 2017. They have said that, listen, when a person is trying to take their own life, is trying to commit suicide, it is basically a health issue and not a crime. So it has been recognized, suicide has been recognized as a mental health problem and not a criminal act, and that is why suicide, attempt to suicide, is no longer a punishable offense. Next, another introduction that has come in the law of crimes is the mob lynching. Now we had seen that in some of the news, if you will see, sometimes due to rumors, etc., entire mob comes in, beats up, and more people come and beat up the person. Nobody knows why they are killing, or it could simply be due to rumors. Now, this, for the first time, a offense called as mob lynching has been introduced. For the first time, mob lynching has been introduced with a very, very heavy penalty. It could mean life imprisonment or death penalty for indulging in mob lynching. So when a group of 5 or more persons come together and start beating up a person on basis of certain biases on religion, ideology, caste, or any other reason, could be treated as mob lynching. Next, a very, very big win for the LGBT community, where LGBT, which was a criminal offense earlier, okay, homosexuality was a same gender love was considered to be an offense, a criminal offense. This has been decriminalized, and homosexuality has been decriminalized. Okay, not only that, they have recognized the term and defined the term transgender. They have defined. So if you go to see in countries such as America, Canada, transgender is a very normal thing, and a person can choose to change their gender from male to female, female to male, by doing, in you go to Thailand, etc., you will see transgenders. Now in India, though transgenders are there, it was completely overseen by the Indian laws. They said no, 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 nothing like that, due to our societal ethos. Now they said that, listen, we have to be realistic. Such situations are present. Just by we looking the other way doesn't mean that they are not there. And they have got all the rights, just like a human. They have fundamental rights. Here, what is a transgender has been defined. A transgender means a person who is of a different gender than what was assigned at his birth. So if a person at the birth is assigned a male, if he has changed the gender, he becomes a transgender. So that specifically recognizes transgender. Okay, transgender are persons whose gender differs from the gender that was assigned to them on birth. Further, a lot of gender neutral terms have been introduced. Now, when they had said gender neutral means what, it was always believed, and a man was considered as a offender most of the times. So the man was treated as a offender and looked in always in the suspicion doubt, even in the language of law. So now they have made it gender neutral, where they have said that instead of saying outraging there was an offense which was called as outraging outraging a woman's modesty. That has been changed to a sexual harassment. Now, sexual harassment could be not only for females but also for males. This is something called as gender neutrality. Okay. Now, this ensures protection not only of female victims but also of male victims. Then a new offense again has been introduced and added into human trafficking. Okay, so forced begging, making a person beg in a forceful manner, telling them. So nowadays we know that beggary is like a organized crime. They have an entire syndicate, an entire group of people, organized crime. They are saying that you go, you take this small child. If this guy, this small baby cries a lot, take him out. You will get more money. So like that, then they collect the money, distribute everything. So that has been criminalized into a heading called as human trafficking or organized crime. So act of forcing a person into begging has been criminalized as a form of human trafficking. This is to punish traffickers and criminal networks, especially who are dealing with children, etc. The most another important advancement in this law was the removal of the colonial terminologies, like they used to say British India. Now we are a sovereign country. The Indian Penal Code had around 400 mentions, 400 mentions of things like crown, of British India, of Queen. Okay, now all this has been removed. So all these terminologies have been perpetually removed. So terms like British India, crown or queen, which was present in the Indian Penal Code, has now been removed in this new law. Okay, now a drawback, or it is a matter of opinion. It Let me know your opinion also, that marital rape has been decriminalized. Marital rape has been decriminalized. Now, when I say marital rape has been decriminalized, means it is a forced sex where it is not with the consent. So here, this could lead to lot of affecting the marriage institution itself. They said that we are decriminalizing it and not putting under the definition of rape. Okay, so marital rape has been decriminalized. You can charge under different other offenses, but not a rape. Okay. Now, definition of terrorism. Now, one of the criticism is they are saying terrorism with the government might dare, we might frame you under certain laws. Now, according to government, now government can use their police powers, or they can use their political motives could be there to define someone as a terrorist. So this kind of concern still remains, as terrorism cannot be perfectly defined, and it has kept open. Next, we will be seeing the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, which means the code of criminal procedure. Now, we are going to see two things, that the Indian Penal Code we saw, okay, law of crimes we saw. Now, when we saw the law of crimes, okay, and we saw that law of crimes was made by Lord Macaulay. Now, when he made law of crime is nothing but a substantive law. Substantive law means what? A substantive law is where you define the crime and penalty. Where you define the crime and penalty is called as a substantive law. So the law of crime is a substantive law. It used to tell what is theft, what was cheating, what is murder, what is hit and run. All that is been defined as a substantive law. But once, let's say, a murder has happened, then what? Then we require the procedural laws. So the criminal procedure code, okay, which was there, it was nothing but a procedural law. Now, when I say procedural law, means what? How the procedure for bail will happen, how the procedure for appeal will happen, how the procedure for investigation will happen. All of that is covered in the procedural law. Now, procedural law again has been repealed by the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita. Let's see what they have to say. Now, when we go to see originally, the Criminal Procedure Code was drafted by the Law Commission of India under the KVK Sundaram. Now, if we go to see, this was in 1973. Very later we came with the procedural laws. So when the definition was given separately in 1960, okay, 1860, it was given the particular law of crimes. But now the procedural laws came much later, and it came by Justice KVK Sundaram. Now again, what happened is it had several limitations because it rooted from the Indian Penal Code. So it was from the British era. It was based on the British era's procedural laws. So then we now have replaced it with the BNSS. Let's see the comparison here as well. So when we see the comparison, the CRPC had 484 sections, whereas the BNSS 2023 has 531 sections. Now we will see that what are the important changes or highlights that have come in the procedural law. Now the first thing is that habitual offenders are going to find it very, very difficult to get bail. Okay, that has been there. And for heinous crimes, the court must provide detailed reasoning before granting the bail. So one is, it's now getting bail is going to be difficult for repeated offenders and heinous crimes, in case of heinous crimes. Now, one of the most important amendments, okay, in the BNSS is the time bound. They have made everything time bound. Now, earlier what used to happen, the procedural aspect used to go on and on and on. Now what is there? The police must complete the investigation within 60 days for cases of punishment up to 7 years. So when we say that it is not that serious offenses, so the police must complete the investigation if it is up to 7 years imprisonment. Greater than 7 years, then the police can take more time to investigate, since it's a bigger crime and a more detailed crime altogether. So in 60 days, the investigation should be completed. Okay, so this is a very big win because the time bound it is made for the police. Now, another important thing is about e-complaints and e-FIR. Now, what has happened in the new law, in the new procedural law, they have decided that we want to make it digital. So, in order to digitalize everything, there are two important changes that has been introduced. The first one is e-complaints can be filed. A victim can file a e-complaint if you have also seen maybe a crime or a serious crime. You can go on the government portal and file your complaint online, and police also can now file e-FIRs. Okay, another thing is very, very important. You tell me, if you take a WhatsApp message, you take your phone and you go and show the judge that this is a WhatsApp message, this is what was promised to me, you think the judge will take cognizance? You think the judge will be serious about it? Yes or no? What do you think? Okay, now if you go to see that, obviously all our communications today are through WhatsApp, are through digital means, so it has been covered. So first time in history, they have said that WhatsApp messages are now fully admissible in evidence. Not only WhatsApp messages, even CCTV footages, emails, digital records, all of this are now fully admissible as evidence. Earlier, it used to be considered to be weak evidence. It never used to be allowed in courtroom. Sometimes, court might disregard it. Now they have specifically said in the procedural aspect that WhatsApp messages can also be taken as evidence. Next, we go to see your stronger protection for women. Again, very, very important. Investigation in rape cases should be completed within 2 months. So again, very important for investigation in rape cases will be completed within 2 months. Within 2 months, it will be completed. Mob lynching, as I told you, has now been introduced as a separate punishment. Now, they have also introduced something called as a witness protection. Now, imagine if a witness is there, he knows that he is giving a witness for a crime. He feels that his life is going to be under threat. So that time, anonymous witness testimony is allowed in organized crime. So they are going to protect the police. So they have given proper procedures that the police should protect, should not disclose the name, it should not be revealed, etc. So anonymous witness testimony is allowed in organized crime, and it's going to be witnesses are going to be prevented from being intimidated, threatened, or harassed. Okay. Now the third important law that has been brought in is, now once the procedure starts, the judge will, the magistrate or the deciding court will decide on basis of evidence. So we require Sakshya. Sakshya means evidence or witnesses. So the Indian Evidence Act has been replaced by the BSA Act. That is your Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam. Okay, by a Sakshya Adhiniyam. Let's see what all has it come. So earlier, the Indian Evidence Act was drafted by Justice by Sir James Stephen. He was a judge and he was brought in to make the Indian Evidence Act. So James Stephen had drafted the entire Indian Evidence Act, and now to modernize the Indian evidence and the types of evidence that comes in, because earlier there was no mentioning of digital records, WhatsApp messages. Now everything has come in. Now let's compare. The Indian Evidence Act had around 167 sections and the BSA Act has 170 sections. Okay. Now we'll see the key highlights and changes in the particular Evidence Act. So as I told you that we are now recognizing WhatsApp messages, email, footage, everything as a proper record. Another thing is DNA and forensic reports can be taken as primary evidence. Nowadays we know that fingerprints, etc., it is there, can be taken as a crucial piece of evidence also. Remote and video testimony. Now very important. When I say remote means from a, let's say there is a witness, he says he cannot come, he's scared, he wants to give a video recording. And I think you've seen in Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case, when you see many of the witnesses were giving video conferencing. They were giving their testimony, they were giving their their entire narration through video conferencing. So that is also allowed. So in today's court also now you can see witnesses who will be sitting home and giving through their statement through video conferencing. Presumption against the accused in certain cases. Now this is against the rule that a person is innocent until proved guilty. So normally, again this has been criticized, but innocent, so we had a belief that he is innocent until proven guilty. Okay, so now they have said that this is removed in case of serious organized crimes and if circumstantial evidence state. For example, Kasab was there when 2611 was there. We can't treat him as innocent because we already know a proper circumstantial evidence is stating, we have CCTV footage, though the procedure would take time. So we can presume the guilt in serious offenses. So in some cases we will presume you to be guilty until you prove yourself innocent. So in serious offenses you will be treated as guilty, deemed to be guilty until you can prove yourself innocent. Okay. Now criticism of the Evidence Act is now that we are taking digital evidence is being taken. But we have to remember that due to AI, artificial intelligence, deep fakes can be made. Recordings can be tampered due to technology also. So that is a very big, hurdle. So in conclusion, when we go to see that the three criminal laws have come to first of all repeal the British laws. One. Second, to modernize the laws as per the technological advancement. Third, if we go to see, to cover the newer form of crimes like snatching or maybe a cyber theft or a cyber terrorism, all of that has been coming in. Okay. So this is there. So when we see the law of crime, new crimes such as mob lynching, snatching has been introduced. If we see the procedural aspect, it's going to be difficult to get a bail. There have been given a time bound that the case should be completed within a certain time frame. Then if we see the Evidence Act, WhatsApp and digital evidence is now been accepted. Okay. So with this, we've covered the introduction of the amendments into the three criminal laws. Thank you. Okay. Now, remember one thing that I have covered the highlights. Tomorrow we will cover from the module. Okay. Now, once you have got a overview of these laws, now tomorrow we will cover from module. Now, if you want to attend these lectures, remember, okay, you have to join the WhatsApp group, okay, because not all the lectures will be on YouTube. Some lectures I will be keeping in our WhatsApp group because I want to open it up for you to ask your doubts, etc. Okay, so the WhatsApp group is given in the description of the video. Go ahead and join it and share it with your friends as well. Okay, so I am done for today. I will see you all tomorrow. From the ICSI module, we will now knock off the 3 laws. The main highlights and the amendments I have covered in depth. Okay, any other thing that you want to tell? I'm reading in your chats, please let me know. Okay, so I'm reading up your chats, please let me know. Okay, this is subject related to GIGL, jurisprudence, interpretation and general laws. Yeah, so Sonali, if you have the old laws, obviously they have issued the new supplement sheet. So the ICSI has uploaded the new supplement sheet that is applicable. Don't study from your module. If you have your module of IPC and CRPC, please don't study it. Okay, it is not applicable. The new laws are applicable. So the new laws are applicable. Good. Any other questions? Please message. If you need any specific things, let me know also. Okay, I'm reading in your comments. Fareen Banu, is it applicable for CS Professional too? Yes, it is applicable for CS Professional, but in CS Professional, we don't have this kind of direct laws. Okay, so you don't have to worry. Only the points where you are mentioning, Evidence Act mention the actual new criminal law. That's all that is there for professional point of view. For professional, I have a separate group. In the evening, every day I'm taking lectures. Please attend that, and it is for the new syllabus. Thank you so much, Vishnu Nath, for your kind words and always being so motivated and motivating and happy. Okay, good. Prayag, when will the live module 2 lectures start? So module 2 I will start next week after I finish this particular part, and I will be starting with the tax laws. Okay, Rajat Gupta, nice, full clear, ma. Thank you so much. Hema, good morning. So that is it for today. I will see you all tomorrow with the balance part, and I will complete that as well. Okay, and if you all need these notes, I will put it on the Telegram group. You can go ahead and read the highlights and close it. So this is the only highlights that you need to know. No other highlights you need to know into the 3 laws. Now the module aspect I will be covering from tomorrow. So that is it, guys. Don't forget to like the video. It's a simple little request. Like the video, and share it with your friends in your study groups. That is it. I will see you all tomorrow with the lesson number 1 for GIGL, jurisprudence, interpretation and general laws. Okay, that is it, guys. Take care. Bye.